We're going to start with Lindsay, so I'll take a seat for now.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming, and all the visitors. So nice to see you. And thank you for staying so late. We're going to try and be nice and quick. But what an absolute delight to watch everything that has been put on for us today. It really was so beautiful, and we're so, so grateful. One thing that we will never take for granted is this family. And I had hoped that I'd cried enough the last 6 weeks, but I think there might still be more tears, so I do apologize. I almost want to put my mask on because when I cry, it doesn't look so nice, and maybe it'll cover it. But we are very grateful, so thank you for being here. I just want to get my notes so that I don't waffle. Thank you. Don't worry, I will cut them down a lot. So 24 years ago, I walked into this community. I was a shy, lonely teenage girl. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't believe that I was good enough to do anything significant with my life. I was hurting and I was lost. And today, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, I walk out of this community with this amazing husband and these three the best children, sorry about all of yours, the best children that were ever made. Could I have some water? Sorry. My family is such a picture of the privilege of growing up in a community that loves Jesus. That this picture of what we walk out today is an example of what it's like to be in a community like this. You come in broken, you come in with nothing, and you leave whole, and you leave with a lot. I just wanted to say 2 lines to them, if you don't mind, starting with Shaun. You are better than I could ever have imagined. When I met you, when we were 15, not in this building, but in this community, you are better now than I ever could have imagined. It was Jesus inside of you that I was attracted to when we were 16 years old. You drove me crazy, but there was still this annoying attraction. And it was the way that you ran after him with reckless abandonment and total, thank you, Christoph, craziness that made me want to marry you. Don't know what I was thinking, but clearly I wasn't. But it was that inside of you that I wanted. I knew at 16 that you would take head on the things that God had for you. I knew that no matter what it cost, you would go after them. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted in a partner. So thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for turning out to be just as crazy as I thought you would be, but also gentle and kind. And the best thing about Shaun is that he's the same every day. There's no surprises. And I can't tell you what a safety that is for me. I don't have to be worried about how he'll come back home after work or what he might say when I forget something or if I irritate him, which I do. He's the same. You've never taken your eyes off Jesus. And that's been the best gift for me. And to you 3 beautiful children, Olivia, Hudson, and Soph, thank you so much. You have given up so much for Dad and I to do what we have felt Jesus has asked us to do. I can think of all the times that you've slept on other people's floors with blankets and nothing much else. The times you've slept on the floor at church. The times that we've sent you to bed early because someone's coming to talk in our lounge. We appreciate it so much. And we couldn't have done it if we didn't have the 3 of you being so, they never ever complain, never. Happy to do and go anywhere for us to serve the Lord. And I just wanted to say that Jesus loves you so much, much more than I do, which is a lot. He loves you so much and he's so proud of you. So 24 years ago, I walked in here, lonely and shy, And today I walk out with that because a community of Jesus lovers decided to find the gold in me. I have to drink this water. I don't want to drink the water because you're going to see how badly my hands are shaking. So everybody close your eyes. I need 2 hands. Sorry. Today, I am more convinced than I ever have been that my assignment and that our assignment as a community is to find the golden people, is to run after people hard and to find the best in them. And sometimes it's really difficult because they can slam you back or slap you in the face or not want what you've got from them. But Jesus has called us to have eyes that see what he sees. And that's what this community did for me. I've got so many stories, and I'm not going to share them all because we'll be here all night. But a family that loves Jesus calls out the best and finds the gold in each other. Society has trained us to find the worst, the faults. Our hearts and our minds and our bodies are trained to seek out danger and to protect ourselves from it, to preserve ourselves from others, to always fight for number one. So when we are intimidated by somebody or someone else's gold, we shame them through gossip and through slander and through putting them down. That's what we've been called to do, to squash others so that we can be higher. That's what life teaches us. But what Jesus has come and he has shown us, and the more I get to know him and the more I fall in love with him, the more I realize that he, and I've said this to you before, and I say this to my children all the time, we are meant to look different to the world. We're not meant to look like that. We are supposed to be different. And he's called us to be different and to look different so that we can bring out the gold in others. And so it's our job to go out there and call out the destiny and declare life, the life of Jesus over people. And gold is found under the ground. It's under the dirt. And in everyday life, we can just walk over that dirt because we don't take the time to dig and see what's there. But today, I am who I am today because people took the time to dig into a 15-year-old girl and see what gold is there. I remember the day I gave my life to Jesus. I was 15. And this is going to sound terrible. But I didn't give my life to him because I had an encounter with him or I finally realized that he must be real. I gave my life to Jesus because I saw him in somebody else. I saw the gold inside of them and I was like, I want what they've got. So if I have to ask this person, this God, to be in my heart, to have that, then I'm in. And I bowed my knee and I asked Jesus to come and live in my heart because of the gold I saw in somebody else. I remember, so that day, why did I tie this? Okay, so here's my gold. Unfortunately, I didn't have the cash for gold bars, but this is a good representation of the gold. So that day, because of the gold in someone else, some gold was found in me. And I remember the day that I was first filled with the Holy Spirit, also 16 years old, and it was during a foundations course in someone's home. And Matt and Joel McGaw created an opportunity where I could ask the Holy Spirit to come and touch me in a way that was real and tangible. And for the first time, this God became real to my body. And I had this encounter with him that encouraged me and excited me to find out more about him. And that opportunity, that creation of that day and that foundation's time, those people who gave up their time brought about another piece of gold inside of me. And I remember being loved by this family as a teenager and a young adult when I went through some very difficult times where I thought I wouldn't make it through this. And that family prayed for me and lifted my arms when I couldn't. And another piece of gold came into my life. Hours and hours of pre-marriage counseling, learning how to be a wife and how to bring out the gold in my husband, and one day how to help bring out the gold in other marriages too. You guys know who you are. Thank you for that time. And then walking into this community with a 2-week-old baby, the first baby, Olivia, totally sleep deprived, clueless, terrified, beside myself, nervous. I had not the foggiest idea what I was doing, and I walked into a mother's room full of ladies. And Beth Spooner, I still remember you telling me, maybe you should feed the baby. Olivia didn't stop crying the whole way through the preach, and Beth was like, maybe you should just try and feed her. Another piece of gold. Another piece of gold. I've got lots of stories about Paul and Beth Spooner. My favorite thing I learned from Paul was that it's easier to apologize than to ask permission. Another piece of gold. And then he also told me how to get through childbirth. It was a light moment for me. And that is that when you're in excruciating pain, all you need to do is pray in tongues, and it all goes away. Clearly, I didn't know him well enough yet, because I totally took what he said as true. And in the middle of screaming all kinds of other things, I remembered, all I have to do is pray in tongues. So boy, did I start. So loud that Shaun eventually came to whisper and say, could you tone it down just a little bit? Until the point where I realized it doesn't work. Thank you for nothing. Lots of stories like that. Beautiful, beautiful stories. I also remember hitting the streets with my baby in the pram with Elise. We walked together and prayed together every week for maybe 12 years. And Elise taught me how to pray. We used to go on that road, and she would say, I needed something, and we would be praying about it. For example, a house. And I would say, oh, Lord, just a little piece of grass, a patch of grass would be so nice. And then she would let me finish, and afterwards she would pray. And she'd say, a big piece of grass, and a swimming pool, and this. And she taught me how to pray. Another piece of gold from this community. And I'm going to stop because I've got a whole 3 pages of them. There are 2 decades of stories of gold that people have bought out of me so that I could go and find gold in others. And this is what 24 years of community looks like. Not really, there's probably a lot more, but these things are quite expensive. Lots and lots and lots and lots of gold. And I've cried tears over coming out of here today because I'm sad leaving the people who have changed my life forever. But it's because of all of you that I'm able to leave here today and go and find gold in others. And I'm excited about the people that are going to come to me that hopefully I can unearth with Jesus a piece of gold in their life so that they can go and do it for people after that. Every person here has touched our life, whether it's in a small way or a big way. We are so grateful. We are so grateful. I am who I am today because of Breakthrough Church, because of Glenridge at Glenwood, and because of City Gates. And you will always, always live in our hearts. And I'm so grateful to God He didn't send me to, where was the worst place? I didn't want to go to India. Sorry, Ivan and Stacey. I'm so glad He didn't send me there. Gosh. He sent me up the hill so that I can still see your beautiful faces and we can still partner together. But I want to say, if there's anything that you remember about me, I'm sure there are lots of things. I'm sure Christopher will remember lots of irritating things about me from the office. It's that we are designed to bring out the gold in each other. Please love each other. Please don't forget to love those who don't know Jesus. Find the gold in them. Their lives will be changed forever. And Jesus, I said this last time I spoke, there is nothing more beautiful than Jesus. Where is Josh? The songs just made me so happy today. Those are my songs. Jesus is more beautiful than any gold I've ever seen. And if I can just say to you, please, please find Jesus, the real Jesus, not someone's revelation of who he is, not the latest preach of who he is, but who he is for real for you, the tangible, intimate encounter where you can live off those moments. Please find Jesus who is the gold. Come, Shaun, quickly. And please all take a gold ball on your way out.
Going to be about 50 minutes, so just hold on there, guys. I'll get 10. Thanks. Stop trying to control me. Josh, bro, I just want to say, bro, you're a legend. I don't think many know how much effort that, honestly, bud, the effort you put into that video and what you did. Honestly, I sat with my mouth open, and I really appreciate what you did. We haven't known you for very long, but for you to put so much effort into something like that, but I really appreciate it, and I'm grateful for it. Guys, let me say, I cannot tell you how outstanding what he did was, just from a creative perspective. Sheesh, this week was hard, I'll tell you what. I'm trying to prepare for this. Like, what do you say? What do you say? I had this, and I had that, and I had a whole bunch of other ideas of what I was going to say. Went back and forth, and you want to know when I finalized it? Christoph will know when I finalized it. Almost. Even later this time. No. About 1 o'clock-ish. No. 11:30. It was so hard. But God brought me back to this one thing. I want to say this to you, Citygate. Love deeply. Love deeply. I'm not going to Corinthians here. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law of the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Everything we need to do to live out our Christian walk, everything is underpinned by love. If we can have that in the core, in the center, we can't do anything wrong. When you're loving or you're doing anything, ask these 2 questions. Is what I'm doing loving towards my Father? And is what I'm doing loving towards these people alongside me? And loving isn't always being nice, and loving isn't always being kind. Loving is sometimes putting people in precious situations and hard situations. It's not easy. What do people see when they look at our lives? And I love Mark's living room mirrors. He's got these 2 mirrors. One, you stand and you look all skinny. You're like, yo, geez, my diet is really working. You just move a half a centimeter to the right and you look again to pull another pose and you're like, yo, I really need to do some weight. Anything other than love is distortion. Love is the only true mirror by which we live our lives outside of this place. And the first one is loving our beautiful Father in heaven, loving God. Not the Bible. I have some people shouting at me now. But when I love Jesus first, and the character and the presence of who he is, I automatically fall in love with the Bible. It It's easy to fall in love with the Bible without falling in love with Jesus. There's so many cool stories. We can learn about Revelations, and we can do a thesis in that. We can spend time like uncovering these beautiful gems and all these amazing things, and we can get caught away by that and not know who Jesus is. But I tell you what, when we find the source who is Jesus and we saturate our lives with that, sheesh, the Bible's exciting. We fall in love with things out of a place of knowing our Father in heaven. God is a good Father and worthy to be trusted. I've got to have a story in here. So I took Hatsi fishing yesterday morning. That's the beautiful thing about only finalizing my preach earlier. And while we were driving there, I knew the anxiety levels were creeping up, because it was a place that we went over, and Wally got to witness our massive YouTube moments, slow-mo, biggest wave smashed us, all our gear was gone. And I could see the anxiety starting to go up in him, because I was taking him back to the place where we got nailed. Not easy to do that, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And we got there, we took the boat off the car, and as we put it out, Hudson's starting to get panicky, teary. We went and parked the car, and now he was in full tears because he knew, okay, we're going. I said to him, Hudson, do you want to go home? He's like, yes, I want to go home. And this was the hard part. I told him, Hudson, will you trust me today? And he said, yes, I'll trust you. And he came with me onto the beach, and it was a massive shore break, but we got through nice and easy, and we got an awesome snook, biggest fish he's ever caught, and a whole bunch of action that day. But Hudson, I'm proud of you, boy, for facing your fears and trusting your Father. I'm proud of who you're becoming, boy, for not going home and for choosing the path of fear. Friends, loving God means saying yes to our Father, regardless of the cost. Because you know what it costs us at times, guys? We have to say yes to things sometimes we don't want to. We have to say yes to fears and giants that stand in front of us. And when we say yes to Him, I tell you what, on the other side of that is incredible blessing. We get to do things and see things that we've never been able to do and see before. Because we say yes to the one who knows us. We are able to be courageous because we love our Father deeply. And we know the end game is eternity with Him. There's nothing to fear in this world. Not death, not sickness. Those times are hard and they're tough, but we don't fear them. We might feel fearful, but we walk into those giants because we have a Father in heaven who we love, and we can trust Him. Olivia wrote this beautiful essay about the 100-mile I ran a couple years ago. And I loved what you pulled out of there, Livs. And her choice is like, I want to do one of those one day. She saw the pain and she saw the suffering and she knows what it takes to do that. But she's saying, yes, I want that. Why? Because she sees what happens on the inside. She's able to see the reward that lies on the other side. City gate, run into the fire, run into the danger, and trust our Father, because as you do that, you'll be teaching your children and your brothers and sisters how to love and trust our Father in heaven. Loving God is time with Him, getting to know Him. Let God reveal who He is to you. Don't listen to what other people say. I really mean that. Don't listen to anyone, what anyone says about God. It's quite a weird thing to say. Matthew chapter 16, verse 13. When Jesus came to the region of Philippi, He asked the disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others say Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But what about you, He asked? Who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, You are the Messiah, the Son of God. Jesus replied, Blessed are you, Simon. Friends, this church, the church of the future, needs to be built on people who have a relationship with Jesus and know who the Father is. Not know what that person says about who the Father is, or that person, or what that guy says, or that book, or whatever it is. It's a personal revelation and walk with the Father. And secondly, love people. Love is many things, but it's definitely not selfish or self-seeking. One of the hardest things to do in this world is to love all people. I don't think you can say that you love God if you cannot love people. Because as we draw closer to Him and as we get to know more about Him, the first thing that happens is that He puts people in front of us and He says, now love them. Feed my sheep. Love my sheep. Jesus returned to the Mount of Olives, but early the next morning, He was back again at the temple. A crowd soon gathered and sat down, and He taught them. As He was speaking, the teacher of the religious law and Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in the act of adultery and put her in front of the crowd. Teacher, they said to Him, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery. The law of Moses says to stone her. What do you say? They were trying to trap Him into saying something they could not use against Him, but Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with His finger. They kept demanding an answer. He soon stood up again and said, all right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Then He stood down again and He wrote in the dust. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest, until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them accuse you? No, she said. Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. We battle in relationships, and we battle to love people, and we battle in our marriages because we fail to see that we are sinners as well. We tend in our mind to think that person's worse, or that person's more rotten, or that person worships the devil, so, oh, geez, I better stay from him in case some spirits jump on top of me. We respond to our wives in our own brokenness because it's their fault. When we forget to see that we are the ones who should be thrown the first stone if we had no sin. Loving other people means putting down those stones and loving them regardless of what they've done or who they are. We love people not because of what they can give to us. That's the selfishness I was talking about. Our friends aren't only people that make us feel good, but we choose to be friends with anyone, with all people. Because it's not about me. Love is saying, what can I give to someone else? Not what can I get from someone else. The one line when we're doing any marriage counseling, and it's my opening statement generally, and we'll stop at that point if the answer is no. But are you willing to say yes to this person if they never, ever change? And it's a blanket statement. I know that there are different situations, etc. So I'm not talking about that. But are you willing to love this person if they never, ever change? And if the answer is no, actually, I can't work with you. You do not understand the heart of Jesus. Because He loves me. And He loves you regardless of where you've come from and what you've done. Love is not about what I can get. Love is about what I can give. Lindsay said to me yesterday, in a very loving way, Shaun, when you go out with Hudson, you must also catch some fish. You just give him the light all the time. And let me tell you something. It's so much more beautiful watching someone else get the gold than taking the gold for myself. It's the most beautiful thing. City Gate, to love deeply is to celebrate and help others get the gold. Take them on a journey, take them on an adventure, and do what this beautiful family has done for us over the years. We absolutely love you. I had a whole bunch of, I wanted to thank people personally, but we are definitely not going to do that. But sayonara.